Have you ever felt like you're tuned differently from everyone around you? Like you walk into a room and you immediately feel the tension, even before anyone speaks. Like loud environments drain you. Like small talk exhausts you. Like you think too deeply, feel too much, notice too many details. And at some point someone probably told you, you're too sensitive. But what if sensitive isn't weak? What if it's frequency? Today, we're breaking this down in a grounded way. No fantasy. No ego inflation. Just a simple question. Are chosen ones operating on a different frequency? First, let's understand what frequency actually means. In science, frequency is just how often something vibrates or oscillates within a certain period of time. Light has frequency, sound has frequency, brain waves have frequency, even your heart rhythm has frequency. Everything that exists physically has some form of vibration, not in a mystical Instagram quote way. In a literal, measurable way. Sound is a great example. Low-frequency sounds are deep and heavy. High-frequency sounds are sharp and subtle. A dog can hear frequencies you can't. Not because the sound doesn't exist, but because your system isn't tuned to detect it. Now think about that in human terms. Some people don't notice emotional shifts. Others feel them instantly. Some people can sit in chaos and feel nothing. Others feel overwhelmed in minutes. It's not always weakness. It's sensitivity to subtle signals. If we bring this into daily life, imagine you're at a family dinner. Everyone is laughing. But you can sense something is off between two relatives. No one said anything directly. But you feel it in their tone, their body language, the pauses in conversation. Later, it turns out they were fighting earlier. You didn't guess randomly. You picked up micro signals, facial shifts, voice vibrations, subtle changes in rhythm. Your nervous system processed information before your conscious mind did. That's not magic. That's heightened perception. Now let's connect this to brain frequencies. Your brain operates in electrical patterns called brain waves. There are slower waves associated with deep sleep. Faster waves linked to focus and alertness, and certain patterns linked to creativity and intuition. Some research suggests that people who are highly sensitive or intuitive often show stronger activity in areas related to pattern recognition and empathy. In simple terms, their system is scanning more data. Now here's where it gets interesting. Overthinking. You've probably been told you overthink everything. You replay conversations, you analyze tone, you imagine outcomes. It feels exhausting. But what if overthinking is just your brain trying to process a higher volume of input? If your system detects more signals, emotional shifts, inconsistencies, subtle behaviors, it will naturally try to make sense of them. That's not dysfunction, that's pattern analysis. Of course, it can become unhealthy if unmanaged. But the root isn't weakness, it's depth of processing. Let's talk about intuition. Intuition isn't mystical lightning from the sky. It's rapid subconscious pattern recognition. Your brain stores thousands of micro-experience. When a situation feels off, it's often because something in the current moment matches a pattern from the past. Even if you can't consciously explain it. You meet someone new. Everyone else says they seem great, but something inside you feels cautious. Weeks later, you realize your instinct was right. You weren't psychic. You notice subtle inconsistencies in tone, eye contact, energy regulation. Your conscious mind didn't label them, but your subconscious did. That's frequency in action. Your system detecting subtle oscillations in behavior. Now let's address emotional depth. Chosen ones, or simply highly aware individuals, often feel emotions intensely. Music hits deeper, movies linger longer, conversations stay in your head for days. You don't just experience life, you absorb it. That absorption can be heavy. Crowded spaces feel overstimulating. Conflict feels physically draining. News impacts your mood quickly. It's like your emotional bandwidth is wider. Think of it like radio tuning again. If your receiver picks up a broader range of frequencies, you'll hear more signals, some beautiful, some overwhelming. The challenge is not lowering your frequency, it's learning to regulate it. Because here's the danger of this topic. Some people interpret different frequency as superiority. That's not what this is about. High frequency doesn't mean better, it means different sensitivity level. A microscope detects details your eyes can't. That doesn't make it superior to your eyes. It has a different function. If you've always felt different, it might not be because you're chosen in a dramatic sense. It might be because your nervous system processes more information. Let's go deeper into social life. You may struggle with surface-level interactions. Small talk feels draining. Gossip feels pointless. You crave meaningful conversations about purpose, reality, emotions, growth. That's not arrogance. It's stimulation preference. If your mind naturally oscillates in complex patterns, shallow conversation feels like static noise. Now here's something important. Sensitivity without grounding becomes anxiety. Depth without boundaries becomes emotional exhaustion. Intuition without self-trust becomes overthinking. So operating at a different frequency isn't just a gift. It's responsibility. You have to learn emotional regulation. You have to manage input. You have to protect your energy, not in a mystical bubble way, but in practical habits. Sleep properly, limit overstimulation, choose environments wisely. Learn to pause your thoughts instead of spiraling, because the same brain that can see patterns others miss can also imagine problems that don't exist. Let's look at a simple daily example. You send a message. They don't reply for hours. Most people think they're busy. Your mind thinks, did I say something wrong? Was my tone weird? Are they upset? Did I misread the last conversation? Why? Because your brain is running simulations. It's scanning possibilities. It's trying to predict outcomes. That's high processing power. But processing power needs discipline, otherwise it turns against you. Now let's talk about isolation. Many people who feel different also feel alone. Not because they're antisocial, but because they don't resonate with most environments. If you're tuned to subtle frequencies, loud, chaotic spaces feel harsh. Drama feels unbearable. Fake energy feels obvious, so you withdraw. And sometimes you wonder, why can't I just be normal? But here's something powerful. The world needs people who detect what others ignore. The friend who senses someone is struggling before they say it. The person who notices unfairness in a system. The individual who questions reality instead of blindly accepting it. That awareness often starts as discomfort. You feel out of place before you understand your role. Now let's ground this spiritually but realistically. When people say raise your frequency, it shouldn't mean pretending to be positive 24/7. It should mean refining your internal regulation, calmer nervous system, clearer thoughts, stronger boundaries. When your internal system is coherent, your sensitivity becomes clarity instead of chaos. And that's where chosen energy truly lives, not in ego but in integration. You're not chosen because you're above others. You're chosen because you're responsible for managing a wider perception range. You see more, you feel more, you process more, so you must stabilize more. And here's the final truth. Different frequency doesn't mean constant intensity. The most evolved individuals often appear calm, grounded, steady, because they've learned how to tune themselves. Like adjusting a radio dial, not to shut down signals, but to focus on the ones that matter. So if you've always felt different, ask yourself, is it that I'm broken? Or is it that my system detects more information than average? If it's the second, then your task isn't shrinking yourself. It's learning control. Because sensitivity becomes power when it's regulated. Overthinking becomes insight when it's disciplined. Intuition becomes wisdom when it's trusted. Emotional depth becomes leadership when it's grounded. Maybe you're not too much. Maybe you're finely tuned. And in a world full of noise, being finely tuned is rare. And rare doesn't mean superior, and it means responsible.